Crisis. Big crisis. Serious crisis. Big, serious crisis. Kisses.
Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new video. As promised, it's time for my kind of final summarising thoughts, as it were, on Series 12 of Doctor Who, to finally put it as a series to bed and to move on to focus on other things. So yes, it was a series that captivated us for the first 9 or so weeks of 2020 before the world changed into a rather different and more strange place. Of course, it was a series that wasn't exactly universally popular, but then that's the current era of Doctor Who in general. Let's be realistic. Chris Chibnall's not the most popular writer, Jodie Whittaker's not the most popular Doctor, so there was always going to be the same level of kind of disagreement and some people hating it, some people enjoying it, but some people hating it, and just generally a lot of toxicity in the fandom, of course. For me, I felt it was a marked improvement on what we saw in Series 11, just introducing more kind of exciting episodes, introducing a more proper story arc, introducing better villains into the series. I think just all kind of elevated it two passes as well, with cliffhangers and things like that. All of those aspects combined just to create a much stronger series in general. There were still weak episodes, as I've talked about, like Orm 55, like Praxius, to an extent Can You Hear Me as well, but there were just some real highs to the series. Of course, the Ruth Doctor reveal in Fugitive of the Judoon is probably the absolute high point, but also just really exciting moments like the Master reveal in Spyfall Part 1, a lot of the time as children with the really fascinating and interesting reveals, whether you like them or not. Of course, that's probably going to be the kind of, I think, in many ways, disappointingly, the kind of overriding memory of Series 12 for people will be either, if you loved The Time as Children, you probably liked Series 12, if you hated The Time as Children, you probably hated Series 12, and that'll only be the only thing you really remember it by, because it was such a controversial, divisive, risky way to end the series out, which I understand that. But as I've said in many videos before, it's overall an episode that I do enjoy. I will be fascinated to see over time how Series 12 is remembered, because certainly I look at things like the Capaldi era of Doctor Who and I feel like that's kind of already starting to get a bit more of a reappraisal, and people in general kind of liking it more as an era of Doctor Who. And actually, just quite frankly, Stephen Moffat as a writer, I feel like people are much more positive towards him than they were when he was actually the showrunner of Doctor Who. And so I'm going to be very intrigued to see over the coming 5 or 10 years how, well, both Series 11 and Series 12 of the Chris Chibnall era kind of are remembered by the fans, whether in retrospect kind of people start to enjoy them a little bit more once things change, or whether it'll always be remembered as kind of the dud period of Doctor Who. I don't know if you want to call it that, but certainly Series 11 for me probably was that. I don't feel like my opinions on Series 11 are particularly massively improved. It still was very much a lacking series compared to Series 12, which for me generally just had enough exciting moments, strong episodes and a good arc to create what was a really good series. And for me, I just still remember the real excitement of watching the trailer for Series 12 back on Doctor Who Day last year, 23rd of November, when they first released that Series 12 trailer. It just felt like it was going to be the real step up we were hoping for after Series 11. It just looked so much more exciting and action-packed and thrilling and full of things from the past, with the reintroduction of the Cybermen, the Judoon, things like that, and then we found out the Master, of course, as well. I don't know, just right from the off, it felt like it was going to be a better and more exciting, more positive series, and I really do think that was borne out, and that was the case in Series 12. I think we are in the current times of Doctor Who in probably the most kind of divisive period of the show there's ever been. As I mentioned earlier in the video, the toxicity of the fandom is probably at the absolute height it's ever been. Quite frankly, the amount of people who want to just absolutely slate the show, say the current era doesn't exist, quite frankly, and it should be destroyed, and RIP Doctor Who 1963 to 2017, blah blah blah. It's a bit sad to see that the show has become so kind of divided in the fandom. In many ways, it's so nice to see these current lockdown rewatches of episodes of kind of bringing the fans back together again, I think, in a sense. But it also will be telling when we eventually, hopefully, have a rewatch of a Jodie Whittaker episode, maybe Woman Who Fell to Earth, or maybe a Series 12 episode, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see the response to that, because, of course, they've all been fairly well-picked fan favourites that generally bring people together so far, compared to the Jodie Whittaker era, which has been causing so many problems. And I just hope that going forward, the kind of the fandom can come back together a little bit more and just be a little bit more generally positive about the show, rather than just looking for all the many, sort of trying to find as many problems with the show as they can to kind of put it down and say why it's terrible now, and why Chris Chibnall's got to go, why the Doctor can't be a woman, and Jodie Whittaker's terrible, and all of these things, which I just think is a real shame, and kind of just really brings the kind of negativity towards the show at such a degree, which is just such a shame. I do think that the general audience of the show is not as good as it once was. That was shown by The Time of Children being one of the lowest rated Doctor Who episodes there's ever been, and I'm not going to try and defend that and say that's good, because it's not. There's no denying that is bad news for the show. I don't think it's the death of Doctor Who like some people maybe want to think it is. I do think that Jodie Whittaker, Christian Malera is never going to be that popular, quite frankly, and it will need a showrunner / Doctor change to kind of bring the fans back again. I don't think that's impossible. Quite frankly, it showed in With the Woman Who Fell to Earth getting one of the highest viewing figures ever that it is possible to kind of get the interest back in the show. Just Chris Chibnall made poor decisions in Series 11 in the way it was played out, so that there wasn't any reason to keep tuning in again. The stories just weren't that good, and it put people off too much, I think, which led to Series 12 being a ratings letdown, I think it's fair to say. But overall, it is a series that I'm going to reasonably fondly remember. It's not going to be my favourite series of all time, but it is a pretty strong one with a lot of good episodes in there, and certainly a marked improvement on Series 11. But that is about it, guys. It is time to close the final chapter on Series 12 as a series. I don't know when I'll next make a video on Series 12. I'm sure I will get around to it again at some point, probably in the run-up to Series 13. We might have another look back on Series 12. But I feel like it's probably time to just about leave it there now. I know it's been nearly 2 months since Series 12 aired as well. So it's time to look back on other areas of the shows I've been doing, looking back at Series 1, looking back at the classic series, the Tom Baker era in particular at the moment. I hope you guys have been enjoying all of those videos. If you have any final concluding thoughts on Series 12 as a series, a kind of summing up of the series, if you like, please do post in the comments below. I'd love to read them. But apart from that, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and as always, hit the like button, the subscribe button if you're new here, and I'll see you again very soon for a brand new one. Goodbye.